The slap heard around the world continues, and we've got the latest details for you on Will Smith, plus controversy surrounds Kanye West and Louis C.K.
It's all coming up right now on The Take.
Hey everyone, and welcome to The Take. I'm Elizabeth Wagmeister.
And I'm Clayton Davis, and we're here to give you our take on some of the week's biggest stories. And there's been some big stories this week.
It feels like there's been one big story this week, and really since the Oscars. We were on a brief hiatus from The Take. It is so good, as always, to be back together. But it feels like we have only been talking about Will Smith, and I know that you have many more details.
I don't know what happened with Will Smith, but let's catch everyone up, right? Will Smith, following his slapping of Chris Rock during the Oscars, has dominated the headlines. The latest is that the Academy has launched the official disciplinary proceedings to vote on how they will deal with the Will Smith controversy. Since then, they have moved up their meeting originally scheduled for April 15th to sometime today to discuss what happens to Will Smith as a member, but he's resigned from that position. So what that means now, Will Smith as a member of the Academy is no more. What that means, and a lot of people don't know this, he can still be nominated for Academy Awards in the future. He can still win Academy Awards in the future. So this is all kind of a little bit of a show. He won't get access to screeners, even though I'm sure he still will get access to screeners. But it's something that's just dominated the headlines. Everything has gotten lost in this story. But today, what we're looking for is, will they bar him from future ceremonies? And that's possible given that the Best Actor traditionally will give Best Actress their Oscar the following year.
You know, I think you said it best, which is this is all for show. I'm glad that the Academy appears to be taking this seriously, but when it comes to Will Smith, I think what most people are going to say, and I completely agree, is this really a punishment? He can't get a screener. I mean, even if they do ban him from going to the Oscars next year, I think a lot of people would say, okay, I mean, this is a really high-class problem. Will Smith acted in violence by slapping Chris Rock on that stage. To not go to the Oscars seems like the least of his worries. I'm curious though, do you think, or how do you think that this will impact his career going forward?
So, I mean, I don't think it's going to have much effect. I mean, we see people still working all the time. The big thing here that I saw out in the social media sphere, which is always a good place to have a good conversation, is will they take his Oscar away? That's not on the table. Just to put into context, Harvey Weinstein and Roman Polanski still have their Oscars. Roman Polanski was convicted of a crime and then fled the U.S. and is a fugitive and then won an Oscar afterwards.
To a standing ovation.
To a standing ovation, and then was hand-delivered that Oscar later on. So Will Smith isn't losing his Oscar, but his career, it'll be part of his legacy.
Absolutely, and I think that is really what's such a shame here, because in this 24/7 news cycle, it's very rare to see a story have this sticking power, and I think that just shows how upset people are and how shocked they are. So yes, he will work again. Hollywood loves a comeback story. If there's money to be made, they will make a movie with Will Smith, but his legacy is forever tarnished. But I'm glad that you brought up Roman Polanski and Harvey Weinstein and all this hypocrisy that we have seen in Hollywood, because that brings us to our next story, which is Louis C.K. now has another Grammy Award. Yes, you heard that correctly. Louis C.K., who was essentially ousted from Hollywood in 2017 after being accused of sexual harassment and then himself admitting to masturbating in front of numerous women, he just won a Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album. Obviously, this sparked a ton of backlash. You've said this before, I know you'll say it again. Cancel culture does not exist. That is a Clayton Davis specialty quote. I mean, this is just unbelievable. And I think one of the big questions is how did this happen? Well, how it happened is the Recording Academy voted to nominate him, and they voted for him to win. Now, I have a new piece that is just out on Variety. I actually interviewed one of the women who came forward with accusations on the record in 2017 against Louis C.K. There is a comedy duo, they're called Dana and Julia. I spoke to Julia, she's a comedy writer, she's a former actor, and I spoke to her about this, and she just said her takeaway is, nobody cares. And she said, and what can we do? Of course it's upsetting, but she said there's no regulation in comedy, there's no regulation or little regulation in music, and it just sends the message to women that nobody cares. He can still work again.
And this is the thing, I think there's this narrative that is formed that, like, comedy is untouchable. Free speech, you can say whatever you want. No, you can't. Not only did he win a Grammy, he won a Grammy for doing a comedy album about the thing he got ousted for. Laughing in the face of the victims, of everyone that was trying to hold him accountable. That's why this lip service that Hollywood always does following controversies, it's not something that people are really holding celebrities and people that are in power their feet to the fire. It's just not a thing.
And you know, what's tough about the comedy business is, sure, Louis C.K., he got cut from FX. His overall deal was broken. Netflix and HBO at the time, they cut ties with him. But as a comedian, you still have the right to go on stage. And if you sell out tickets, then that's up to you. That's your prerogative. That's your right to be able to go on tour. But when you have the fame and the power that it seems he still has as Louis C.K., that's the difference with, you know, someone like a Harvey Weinstein, who clearly will, I mean, he's behind bars, but you know, he will never be hired again by a Hollywood studio. With comedy, it's just different. So there's really very little regulation there.
I wouldn't say that quite yet if he'll ever get hired again, because we've always seen a gross comeback in any way.
You're right.
Might as well put it out there.
They are trying to overturn Harvey Weinstein's conviction, but as of now, he is a convicted rapist serving a 23-year sentence and stands to have another sentencing in Los Angeles. But let's talk about one more quick moment of hypocrisy with the Grammys. Kanye West, who was banned from the ceremony, from performing at the ceremony, he is now the most awarded hip hop artist because he won Grammys as well. So it's not just Louis C.K., it was also Kanye West. He was banned from performing for concerning online behavior. That's what the Recording Academy said. But now this week he is pulled out of Coachella.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens with him next. But now switching gears, let's look at the ratings, because the ratings have come in for both the Oscars and the Grammys, both up from last year. The Oscars are up from 10 million to 16 million viewers this year, while the Grammys only made a slight bump up to 8.9 million viewers. Both had pretty decent shows in other aspects. People have their critics, but this speaks to the whole award show transformation that everyone's trying to go through. Now, Oscars making a big bump the way they did, and I say big, they both have the second lowest ratings in the history of their entity. Award shows are still bleeding viewers. Oscars' big problem is getting on a streamer. I'll stand by that till the day I die. They need to go on a streaming platform. That will solve a lot of their issues. Also, not cutting 8 artists in categories, please. Grammys.
Just saying.
Yeah, Grammys, 5 categories around a concert, I guess. Like, I don't know if people were really invested or people just didn't know the promotion of it, but that brought about some interesting questions regarding the host, which I know you have an interesting take on.
Yes, well, I mean, I loved the host of the Oscars. And by the way, I really enjoyed both the Oscars and the Grammys. And it's unfortunate that these various events have overshadowed the news, because I really thought they were great shows. And I do think that even though the Oscars had a huge uptick, you still have to keep it in perspective, because last year at 10 million was the lowest rated, but the year before was over 23 million. So to get to around 16, yes, it's an uptick, but still clearly, as you said, they need to figure out how to get more people to watch.
And for the wrong reasons, by the way, because a lot of people tuned in following a slap that happened, I think.
Yes, which really what we should be remembering is things like Coda winning, which was my favorite film, and Troy Kotsur, who, by the way, you did a beautiful, beautiful profile of him on the cover of Variety. That's what we should be remembering, in addition to some of the really great aspects of the show. So you brought up the host. I loved Wanda Sykes, Regina Hall, and Amy Schumer. I thought that they were hilarious. But then Amy Schumer put her foot in her mouth this week, and she revealed, for some reason, no one asked her, she revealed a joke that she wasn't allowed to say, which was about Helena Hutchins, the cinematographer who was killed on the set of Alec Baldwin's film.
Which, like, and I'm all about pushing the boundaries for, like, you know, too soon jokes, but it wasn't funny, and it was just horrible and made no connection. It was just really, it was really dumb, and hopefully would just get some, I'm glad someone stopped her from doing that. At the show.
Yeah, and I am all for comedians being able to joke about what they want, but you don't joke about someone's death. That is just not what we do. But we have, I think, talked to death about the Oscars and the Grammys. But Clayton, if you think award season is over, it is not, because this week, news from the TV Academy, they have announced the date for the Emmy Awards. They will be on September 12th. So Just when Oscar season ends, Emmy season begins. Happy Emmy season, Clayton.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Monday, which is not out of the ordinary. NBC gets out of the way of Sunday Night Football.
Yes.
But the Creative Arts is going to be on Labor Day, which is going to mess some things up there. But we'll follow it all year long.
Yes, we will be following it all. We can't wait for the Emmys. I can't believe it's already Emmy season. And as always, thanks to you guys for joining us right here on The Take. We'll see you back on Fridays.
Thanks for watching.